Everybody, it's your boy Chapu from Chaps for Jesus. It's been a minute since I did any type of review or any type of unboxing. Well, I literally just got back from Brooklyn, New York. Holla at your boy, NYC, one love. And I was there visiting my mom. And while I was there, I got my SOVOL SV01's Dark Knight Edition. What? Anyone that knows me knows I'm a Batman fan. I'm not claiming to be the greatest, Batman fan or whatever, but anything to do with the Dark Knight, anything to do with Batman, things like that, I like them. I like to, get them just because. And I'm being honest about it. See, I'm open about that. I'm getting it because it says the Dark Knight. But anyway, long story short, I ordered two. And they came with two additional beds, glass hot beds. I had no idea. I thought it was just a diamond tip bed. I was happy that they were, showing that. And it came with two sets of Dark Knight Blue Edition knobs. And two sets of Dark Knight Edition tensioning springs. Why is this a big deal? I found out on my own. And I can guarantee you that if you go online, all this information is online, but this is me learning on my own. The original is 19 millimeters high. The new Dark Knight editions are 20.8 millimeters high. So it's 1.8 millimeters taller. What does that translate to? Well, you have more tension on that metal spring, adding more tension to the bed, making it more stable on your prints, so you'll get less ghosting, less stutters, and less failures, and you'll get more close to perfection as close to perfection as possible. So what did I do? I went ahead and installed a brand new Cura 4.7. I printed a Green Lantern using skin PLA by Longer, and I printed a cat, I don't know what it's called, a cat using skin PLA from Longer. My temperature was 205 degrees Celsius on the nozzle, on the hot end, and 50 degrees Celsius on the bed. Why do I use that temperature? Well, plastic, the hotter it gets, the more flexible it is, the more pliable it is. And I don't want it to be pliable. There's certain prints that I want to be pliable. These two I did not. I wanted them to be solid, sturdy, and sticking onto that plate as much as possible. And boy, did they come out nice. So anyway, I'm doing things different. I'm not going to do a complete unboxing, a complete print, a complete this, because I already had one before. And I already have one running in the background right now, printing a calibration cube that was on the SD card. The first two prints that I did were prints that I got from Thingiverse. I will include the links below. The Hot Pink PLA by Longer is also printing at 205 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius on the bed. Actually, this one is what was on the SD card already, so I don't know what the settings are. I'm just going by how they set it up. But from what the SOVOL screen is telling me, it's 200 degrees on the nozzle, 50 degrees Celsius on the bed. And so far, that calibration cube looks like it's taking full advantage of the specs of the SOVOL. So let me go ahead and take the one out of the box, the second one that I have out of the box. And if anyone knows me, knows I had a third one. I returned it, not because the unit doesn't work, not because the unit stopped working, but because when I got the Dark Knight editions, I got them for $260 each with free delivery, and I earned enough points to get a shirt, which I wish I would have had already. But anyway, waiting for that shirt to arrive. And reason for the return, when I bought it on Amazon, I got it for $325. If you do the math, that's a $60 to $70 difference if you want to factor in tax. That's a lot of money, and that's on two printers. So imagine if I would have went back and bought two from Amazon, it would have came out to $650 versus $520. You do the math. So that's why this one's going back, and the other two will remain. But other than that, the machine was solid. I had no issues with it. I printed PETG on it. I printed TPU flexible on it. Generic, not even name brand, filament that is designed to take advantage of all the specifications of your printer. No, this was generic PLA, and the printer itself is what stole the show, making it look like it was awesome. Alright, so if anybody knows me, I'm using my longer LK4 Pro spatula as my box cutter, as I don't seem to recall where I put my box cutter. So here is the SOVOL Dark Knight Edition that came in the mail. As you can see, the box has not been tampered with in any way, shape, or form. This is the top. Let's go ahead and unbox. What comes in the box is a 95% pre-assembled machine. The hotbed, the bottom, the main board, the gantry, the extruder, the hot end, the heat break, the cooling vent, the cooling port, the Z-stops. Actually, yes, only the Z-stop, the Z-axis stopper has to be put on. SOVOL instructions. And here, I already know because I already did it 3 times. It's going to be the power cord, 8 GB SD card reader. It's going to have the USB cord, which you will use if you want to plug it directly to your computer and print through Octoprint, print through Reprint, or Reprep, I can't remember the program, or if you want to print directly through Cura. I personally have not done that yet. I'm too new and too busy to learn, but I gotta make time for it. So there's no excuse. It's something that I can't do right now, but it doesn't mean I can't do it in the future. So again, all the tools to put the machine together, I already have some out, so I'm going to use those. USB cord, as I was saying, the Z-axis stopper that I was saying, the 8 GB SD card, the 4 5M20s that are used to hold the gantry, USB cable, power cord, filament runout detector, spatula, filament holder. This is the one thing that I do give SOVOL credit for, that I love this about them. The amount of test print filament that they include is 200 grams, and it's not cheap PLA. I've gotten PLA that's included in Mingda, and that PLA was so trash. That to me is bad. When you put together a 3D printer and you include bad PLA, what if that's all the person has? What if that's all they could afford? Let's be realistic. Those are real situations. And it doesn't take advantage of your machine. Now the person's sending it back thinking that it's not working. It happens. How do I know? A buddy of mine said that. And I said, dude, no, the PLA that was included, and it was for a longer LK4 Pro, and I said, dude, the PLA that they included was trash. Here, try this. Once they tried it, beautiful. Here's the SOVOL LCD screen. All right. Man, when they package this, they package it good. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I could never complain about their packaging. I could complain about being unable to get it out of the packaging. Got it. And that's everything out of the box, folks. Okay, so on this one, I already have the Dark Knight Edition springs. On this one, what I'm going to install is the silicone springs. Both are highly regarded. Both are highly recommended. The Dark Knight Edition and the silicone springs. So what I want to do is show diversity. I want to show what each can do, what each is capable of. I'm going to print the exact same calibration cube from the exact same SD card that was on this machine, because by the time I'm done putting this bad boy together, this calibration cube should already finish. Then I'm going to take that same SD card, put it on this machine, print the same exact calibration cube, the same exact Faithful Knight, Prayer Warrior, Christian statue that I'm going to print as well as a test print that's on this SD card. I'm going to flop them and put them on this same machine with the same exact filament and see what the differences are. Even if it's 5%, even if it's 1%, it's a difference. So right off the bat, taking off the original, because that's just how I am. And normally I used to do them without power tools, but when it's almost midnight and you're exhausted from driving from New York back to Florida, I'm going to use one today, guys. One thing I will warn you right off the bat. I've never done this. I have not measured it. This is wishful thinking. I have used these silicone springs many times before. The reason why I'm bringing this up, food for thought, this has a Z-axis stop. If where the Z-axis stop is designed at a certain height, if it's at a certain height, and these silicones are too short, I'm going to have to take them off and put the originals back on, or the Dark Knight editions and put those on, because if the sensor can't reach the Z-axis stop, it'll damage the bed, it won't do the print, or it won't work at all. I just want to make sure that it is the right height, that I have the right amount of tension on this bed to keep it from bobbing. And that is the whole point of having these silicone spacers, is because they're more solid and it transfers a lot less noise onto the print. Now the one to the hotbed, you have to be careful, because there's one where the hotbed power solder is. So you're gonna, and there's a piece of plastic that's there. You're gonna have to physically put it in there and get it in between that plastic, or else it won't go on its own. And the way that you put these knobs on, you'll notice that it'll have a protruding part, an elevated part. That's the one you want facing up. I like the blue color that they chose. One thing I will also notice, the original springs, let me separate them. The original, sorry about the whiteness folks, about the white balance. The original springs versus the ones that came in the Dark Knight edition are wider and shorter than the Dark Knights. The Dark Knights are taller and narrower. How much of a difference? Let me check with my caliper here. Difference is, alright, the originals that came with the machine are 3.4 millimeters thick. And new ones in the Dark Knights are 3.0. So they're 0.4 millimeters thinner, but 1.8 millimeters taller. So yes, it translates to less. Actually, it translates to the same amount of metal. In my mind, it translates to the same amount of metal, because what they took from the width, they added into the height. Alright, so being that this is already 95% put together, I'm almost done with the knobs here, and then I'm going to put the gantry, the filament runout sensor. I gotta do it from this side. Alright, one thing that I'm already noticing by using these silicone springs, you have less room to work with because you're taking a height that was designed by the manufacturer in the springs when they assembled it and they put the assembly instructions together. Now you're going from springs that are, 20.8 millimeters down to, let's see if I can do it. $18. So you're taking another 2 millimeters off the height. There we go. But everybody knows where there's a will, there's a way. Man, that calibration cube looks beautiful. This bed is actually wobbly. It's not a big deal. That's why you use one of the wrenches that came in shipment. Folks, okay, so here's what I noticed on the SV01. On the right hand side, there's only one tensioning nut for the hotbed because on shipment it came a little loose, but on the left hand side, The print is done, folks. I'll go to it in a minute. And on the left side, it has 2 tensioning nuts. So I'm going to work on the left side now. Oh, perfect. What does that sound? All right. So I'm going to take the original nuts, the original springs, and separate them. Okay, what is forward and what is backwards? Forward is where the hot end is, where the stepper motor is, where the hot end, where the heat break, where the direct drive unit is. That's the front. The back is where you see the 2 Z rods. That'll be the back of the unit. I'm going to go ahead and connect those on the gantry using the included 5M, I believe they're 20s, to connect this. One thing I did notice, and I love very much about the SOVOL group, mine came scratched up at shipment. And they're always very kind and very understanding, and I'll see what they can do to help me out here, because this is a lot. I'll include the images on my Facebook and Instagram, Chaps for Jesus. There. Where did I put them? Making some noise here, folks. I was right. There are 4 5M525s, and then there's 4 M520s that are for the LCD screens. The 20s are for the LCD screen, it only comes with 2. The 25s are 4, and it's for the gantry. Let's go ahead and put that gantry together first, because I want it solid, and then we're going to put the LCD screen, and we're literally done. Oh, actually, and then connect the power cords to the stepper motors, to the Z axes, and X axis, and I believe that's it. And we should be able to go from there. Okay, When I put the first 2 screws in, I don't put them in all the way and all gorilla strength in, because if you need to manipulate it, it is a lot easier to do so on a loose screw than, you know, 2 gorilla strength screws. Still not tight. I did that on purpose. I'm gonna knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, being that I'm going in that direction anyway. I'm gonna plug in my Z1, which is the one on the left. Power cord to that Z stepper, to Z motor 1 I plugged in. X axis or X stepper motor, X axis sensor, stopper sensor, stepper sensor, the power cord to the second Z motor, we'll call that Z rod number 2. I know it's not the Z-Rod, it just sounds dope. Well, what's your nickname? My name's Z-Rod. Dang, dude, you sound tough. I am too. And this is the... You know what? Leave me alone. I'm busy. Okay. And this is the Z-Axis stepper driver connector digga-ba-bobber. Oh, and if anybody wants to know, last week, August 18th, was my birthday. I turned 39, and for my birthday, what did I do? I bought myself 2 Dark Edition SOVOL 3D printers. I also got another 3D printer that I'm going to unveil within the next 48 hours. And little did I know that there was a launch going on about a new product from that same company in 48 hours. Go figure. So I'm saving my credits that I have from Amazon because I want to see what it is they got going on. Alright. What did I do? I took the dual Z rods and I elevated them so that I could have enough room to put my Z axis stopper. Alright, just holding it there for now. That's how quick it was, folks. 95% assembly. Most of the work is my yapping. And don't make fun of me. He's got my lover. Yeah, mine came pretty scratched up. Let's see what they could do for me. So as soon as I got these, SOVOL went ahead and reached out to me, which I loved. The fact that they did that. They asked me where I lived. They confirmed my address. They gave me a tracking app to track my my purchase, which was in real time, and it was awesome. And they notified me that I had enough points to get a shirt, which I wish I would have had by now, but I didn't. And that's okay. It's not a deal breaker. The way that the filament holder works, okay, it's going to have 2 teeth, and it's going to have 2 grooves specifically for those teeth to enter. Once they're in, it's not twisting, it's twist tight. Ready? It's pushing, twist to tighten, and that's it. It's not twist to tighten, twist to tight. Despite the machine not being with silent stepper drivers, it's actually pretty quiet. What do? Alright. Everyone that ever watches me notices that I pay attention to something. When that T-nut, when you turn that T-nut and it spins, it turns on its side and then it's being lifted, and then it adds tension against the 20 by 20 aluminum rod holding the filament holder. I notice when that T-nut turns to its side, mimicking the tensioning portion to hold the filament holder in place. As soon as I see it move, I push it flush against the M5.25 screw, because I want it as far out as possible, because I put my filament runout sensor directly in the middle, because I'm going to go online or I'm going to print my own additional spool holder so that I can have 2, just like the SOVOL that I have here doing a test print. There she is. Where's my filament sensor? When I put my filament sensor, I have to make sure that the arrow is facing down. That's letting you know in the direction of where the filament has to go. Here's my trick. I put the power cord in. I go above and behind my spool holder. Now, here's what they don't tell you. When you put this out there, that looks ugly. To me, that looks ugly. But then again, you can't put it underneath either, because then that looks ugly as well. What I've done, I take the cord, I put it behind the filament runout sensor itself, go behind the spool holder, and I do it that way because now the filament runout sensor is becoming its own wire management. You got to work with what you have. I mean, I'm the type of person, I don't want too much on my printer that's not functional or has a use. See? Voila. And it adds to it. It keeps it off the Z-rod, it keeps it off the front, it keeps it off the back. They help each other out. Now, for the X-axis stopper. And the X stepper motor, power. Let's see. That goes this way. And there it is, folks. A completed unit. Well, completed product, but not functional. I gotta put the screen on. But other than that right there, other than this, it's about 98% done. The wires are labeled. One of them specifically says EX1, and obviously you go EX1 to EX2, EX1 to EX1, EX2 to EX2. Use the two M520 screws. There's something that I want to start doing. I'm going to start going out there, start meeting the homeless, start giving them gifts, start printing Christian trinkets, asking them for their ideas, asking them what they think about this, relate with them. I'm using this as an excuse to connect me with them. Maybe I could 3D print a piggy bank so they can hold their money. I could 3D print a door opener for them. Maybe 3D print a fishing rod. Voila, folks. Now this is 100% assembled. And like I stated before, I'm going to take the SD card out of this machine now. But before I do that, let me show you the quality here. Alright, so this bad boy finished printing as I was assembling the second SVO1. Now this is what was already on the SD card. I did not use Raft. That's what they did to try to take advantage of what this machine can do. I did not put any glue. I did not put any spray on this machine in order to get it to stick. So there's the Raft, and if you notice on the Raft, this is my hot pink PLA. This is the top part where I took the calibration cube off, and this is the back. Why is there black on the back? Well, they 3D printed the cooling port or cooling duct on the machine on a prior machine for this one, or this one for another one, or this one for this one. I mean, however they did it is amazing, but they test the units themselves prior to shipping, and that is a remnant. That is telling me that they did a trial run to make sure that my machine worked. So here is the calibration cube. This is where the Raft was. There's the X. X has a little... Oh. Where did that come from? Stringing, but literally came off with the blow. Oh, that's how thin it is. The stringing is coming off by simply blowing. See? See that stringing there? That's new to me, because usually stringing sticks. But Raft, calibration cube. I'm taking the same SD card. From this machine and putting it on this machine. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and level this bad boy. And how do I level it? I actually use the paper technique. I had BL Touch. It worked. I like doing it manually. I don't know why. I like doing it manually because, like, let's say I do a leveling test STL file. I can see the very first layer of PLA, PETG, TPU, TPI, whatever it is that I'm using, HAPI, and I can monitor that first layer. That's how good I got. I look at that first layer and I look at it, and if I see the thickness that I like, I leave that corner alone. Same thing to this corner, that corner, this corner, and I use that. And 99% of the time, I have not had a single print issue, unless it was something that I went in too aggressively on and didn't work. Alright, folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and level this bad boy up. That's SOVOL model number 1. And you'll know the difference between this unit because it has the two filament holders already up top. SOVOL only has one. See? I want to do it in the reverse because it makes it confusing and it'll make you think and it'll make you remember. So 2 has 1, 1 has 2. 1 has 2, 2 has 1. SOVOL number 2. SOVOL number 1. Huh? 2 spool holders, 1 spool holder. We'll go from there. This is your boy Chapo from Chaps for Jesus. I'm going to go ahead and level the bad boy out, do a couple test prints, and I'll do a follow-up video on SOVOL unit number 2. God bless you, and always remember, at Chaps for Jesus, we always have one love. God bless, take care, grow your hair, and drop it everywhere. Oh!